Hi, and welcome to Mrs. PM Reads. Today we are continuing in our story, Zoo by James Paterson and Michael Ledwidge. Now, don't be distracted by this little string. I tried some fake nails and can't get this one off. So this string is here trying to kind of work it. So anyway, there it is. I've acknowledged it's there. Don't be distracted. Don't be distracted by it. All right. Today, we actually move into book 3. We did that in the last video. We will start in chapter 51 today. In the last video, in the transition to book 3, it became 5 years later, and the United States, at least, is very different, and things are very uncertain and not going well in the country. So let's see if it tells us exactly what's going on. Chapter 51. There was more bad news that morning, special just for me. I had to interpret my research in order to head down to DC and do my Chicken Little dance at another time suck of a congressional hearing. For all the scientific evidence we were amassing, and in spite of the exponential increases in animal attacks, which were irrefutable, many people, both in government and in the citizenry, our elected officials are supposed to be beholden to, were still refusing to accept that anything out of the ordinary was happening. I wasn't the only voice screaming in the wilderness anymore, but still, not everyone had heard the call. In those first few years, it was a long uphill battle to get people to recognize what was happening. I had frequently been at loggerheads in the op-ed pages with Harvey Saltonstall, and yes, the Harvey Saltonstall, evolutionary biologist, popular science writer, holder of the Henry Wentworth Wallace Chair at Harvard. I had a couple of public debates with him too. Harvey and I shared a few split screens on news shows. He was the most prominent public critic, and his opposition to HAC must have delayed public acceptance of it by years. It drove me nuts debating him. He had the academic cred, the name, the CV, and who the hell was I? I looked like your office's IT guy standing next to that stately, handsome man, Twiggy in his tweeds, with his pipe smoky baritone, his Boston Brahmin accent, and that obnoxious tick of swiping his silver hair. Twit. I rubbed circles on my throbbing temples with my thumbs, my gathering headache coming at me in fuzzy radio waves of pain, and was more astonished than alarmed when a guy I didn't know came in and sat down across from me. He looked like an ex-husband of Britney Spears. Skinny arms, blue with bad tats, houndstooth Sinatra hat, a goatee that looked drawn on. A small part of me wondered if I was still asleep. "Can I help you?" I said. "You Jackson Oz?" Might have rolled my eyes. Here we go. So then, I'd written a book about HAC, which had become a controversial bestseller. On the one hand, it was the best thing I'd done yet to spread the word about HAC. It led to appearances on the major media outlets where I tried to warn people about the growing danger and the increasingly dire need for immediate, coordinated action. On the other hand, I was sort of famous, or rather, infamous. Pet owners didn't like me much. dog people especially, despised my message, now even more so since we'd gotten Congress and the president to consider national quarantine. Actually, no, I said, but I get that all the time. The man was unfazed. Why you gotta hate on dogs, yo? Why you gotta be getting people all crazy and shit? Sell your stupid ass books? My Roddy ain't evil. She's a sweetheart. Everything okay here? Said a behemoth of a black man in a tailored pinstriped suit who had just materialized in the doorway beside Kay Fed. We're having a conversation here, the guy said with righteous indignation. A private conversation. Not anymore, said my sometime bodyguard, FBI Special Agent Nemo Cadill. Cade. There's no L there. Nemo Cade. He flashed a winning smile and a badge. Would you like to find your seat, or do you need some help? Nemo shouldered the dipshit out of the train car, and I let out a long breath of relief. Working in the government has its perks. This sort of thing happened a lot. My email inbox was so full of death threats that these days I just deleted them without being curious enough to open them. You bring out the best and the brightest, don't you, Oz? Nemo said when the guy was gone. It's my sparkling personality, I said. Where is everyone? Chloe appeared in the doorway of the train car. The best thing about the last 5 years, 5 unrewarding years of slaving away in the lab, constant traveling, constant frustration, was having Chloe by my side. She'd been working as hard as I was, harder actually, and somehow, instead of sporting my burned fuse chic, she was her same self, with silky skin and owlish eyes, her body willowy and elegant as a stroke of calligraphy. Then there was a noise, Paterson's squeal, and something giggly and sticky shot through the open doorway, scrambling onto the seat and landed in my lap. Egads, a monster, I said in my 1930s radio drama voice, as our 3-year-old son, Eli, climbed me as though he were Sir Edmund Hillary and I was Everest. I put him in a mock headlock and kissed him on top of his fuzzy blonde head. Eli wasn't only a rambunctious kid who loved wrestling and snapping together Lego guns, he was smart as a whip. At 18 months, he could write words on the fridge with magnet letters. And he was bilingual in English and French. Chloe and I had gotten married in a quickie job in the city clerk's office the day after she found out she was pregnant. Then we'd held a ceremony for friends and family a couple of months later. Eli was born 8 weeks premature and had to be put in the NICU. We were afraid he might not make it, but a week later he bounced back, started getting bigger and healthier. As I watched him hop up next to Chloe in the seat across from me and open his favorite book, the Jungle Book, my depression was replaced with a rejuvenated sense of determination. The hell with Yeats, I thought. The center would hold. I would have to. It would have to. For my wife and son, I'd make it hold or die trying. Chapter 52. Traffic was stopped, dead, on the way to the Capitol from Union Station. In the back seat of the sleek black government sedan, Eli fidgeted in my lap, gnawing like a gremlin on a fruit leather we had gotten at Trader Joe's. He was getting cranky. That happens with 3-year-olds. Chloe was already cranky because they didn't have the car seat for Eli that they had said they would. The afternoon sun sparkled on a sea of chrome and glass and glowered like a fat yellow bully above us, a problem that the car's anemic AC alleviated exactly not at all. I was getting pretty cranky myself. Another worthless hearing? What was the use? Nothing ever happened at these kangaroo courts but a jamboree of choreographed histrionics. Worst of all, Senator Charlie Chargaff, my avowed arch enemy, was going to be on the inquiry panel today. I couldn't wait to get grilled by a hair-plugged good old boy with a spray-on tan who was going to try to ride his demonstration of me into the White House. When at long last we rounded a corner, I could see the reason for the clogged traffic. A block from the Capitol complex, a smattering of young people in black hoodies and black masks were squaring off against riot cops. Several of the protesters were waving black flags with a circle A, anarchy symbol, sprayed on them in cracked white paint. Billowing plumes of pink smoke sprayed up around them. Car horns honked all around us like the bleating of bored sheep. What are these fools protesting now? Chloe said, watching from the corner of her eye as Eli whacked a Batman figure against the seat, making blow-up noises with his cheeks. They already have what they want. Anarchy is here. The driver peeled into a U-turn and brought us around the back of the Capitol building. I felt the tickling buzz of my phone vibrate in the inner lining of my suit jacket. The caller ID said, U.S. government. Who is it? Chloe said. Uncle Sam, I said. Mr. Oz? Said a resonant voice. Speaking. Are you at the hearing yet? Bad traffic. On my way. Who is this? This is Stanley Marshall, the president's chief of staff. Something's come up. Matter of national security. We need your help on it. Take a detour and come for a meeting. Now? I'm scheduled to speak in half an hour. I understand that, Mr. Oz. The president would like to speak to you instead. This is more pressing. Put one of the agents on the phone. I can give him directions. I lurched into the front seat and handed Nemo my phone. What was that? Chloe said as we pulled another U-turn. Eli dropped his Batman figure on the car floor as we turned. Mommy, get Batman. I don't know, I half whispered. I guess we're going to meet the president. 10 minutes later, the car was pulling into a municipal parking garage in DuPont Circle. Seemed fishy. I leaned up front. Are we meeting Deep Throat? I said. I thought we were going to the White House. Nemo looked back at me and shrugged. They told us to come here, he said, as we wheeled onto the garage's ramp. We slowly circled up to the roof. I was confused. It was deserted. What is this? Chloe said. There's no one here. Damn, I said. Mommy, said Eli. Get back. What? Said Chloe, ignoring him. This must have been a ploy. Senator Chargaff. He must have found my number and had someone call, pretending to be the chief of staff, so I wouldn't show up to the hearing. Make me look like a flake. Bastard. I tried calling the number that had just called me. I was listening to the phone ring, unanswered, when we heard a low, chopping mumble like an industrial fan heard through a pillow. A plastic bag drifting along the concrete wall beyond the windshield fluttered and took flight. graceful as a bird blown across the cityscape of DC. Then we heard the deafening suck and throb tattoo of a landing helicopter, cottoning the air like a migraine in the head of a god. The wheelie bird that landed 5 empty spots to the left of the sedan was a massive Black Hawk with military markings. An Army colonel in mirrored aviators and a jacket as decorated as a Christmas tree hopped out of it and jog-walked toward the car. "Daddy!" yelled Eli in my ear. "What?" I yelled above the throbbing dim. "Get back!" And that's it for today. We're stopping there. I hope Eli gets Batman. Well, this is interesting. You guys are going to have to come back for the next video and find out what what the president wants. All right. I hope you do have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.